In today's world, it can be very, very overwhelming from a branding perspective. We see them everywhere, from adverts on our screens to traditional adverts such as billboards and bus stop adverts. What really is branding? From a small business perspective, branding is essentially the message and ethos that you stand for as a company. It does include all the design elements that you're traditionally associate with branding, but then it also includes how do you speak with your customers? How do you deliver value? What does the company stand for? And all of these aspects come into building a brand, and especially when you're building a brand for a small business, it can feel hard and overwhelming. So the reason why I wanted to produce this video is to basically break it down for you, show you that it doesn't have to be as hard. If you know what you're doing, it can be simple. Keep it persistent, because a lot of small businesses I've found that I've worked with in the past, they'll fall into the trap of changing their brand, say every 2 to 3 months, and it's like, guys, you just need to keep it consistent for a little while. I mean, every 3 to 4 years, then maybe, yes, start changing it. These are the type of people that will produce a piece of content or will produce a poster that has completely the different type of font to what you normally put out, or what is within the guidelines, essentially. I've made a video on brand guidelines if you want to go and check that out up there. That will basically breaks down all the elements that there are to a brand and how to keep it consistent. Persistent also plays in the sense of, like, when you're posting an image, maybe again you want to have like a certain type of look. Say your brand is quite dark and moody and outdoorsy. For you to then go and post a nice warm picture, like a beach picture, it just wouldn't work with your brand. Try and think about this when you're posting content or when you're producing media for your business. It's like, how do the images fit within your brand? So a really good space for this is to use Unsplash. I love it just in the sense that you can look through and you can scroll through and you can check different images and you can see kind of what works. Again, they're all free to use, royalty free. So I would say mention the people in them just because it's a nice thing to do. And again, it gets you exposure to your brand as well. So keep checking there. And if you can, the best thing you can do is create your own content. So whether that's getting a videographer or a photographer to capture and develop your images and your image look, this will really help with your brand. Initially, when you start your brand, it's not going to be recognizable, and I think this is what a lot of people fall into the trap of, is like, well, how are they going to know about me? Another way they fall down is they'll have to put within the name what they do. A lot of builders do this, so it's like, so-and-so building services, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, you don't really need that. If you're building your brand, which I suggest everyone should do, you don't really need that. The best way to be recognizable is to develop the brand initially and to stick with this. So then it goes back to the point of being persistent, of keeping everything aligned and keeping everything within what you set out initially as your brand guidelines. Persistence also comes in the way that you communicate with your customers, the way that you put across your message to your customers and how they perceive your brand, which you have no control over how they perceive your brand. So you just need to keep pushing, essentially hope for the best. You can manipulate it in the ways that you do make sure that you are persistent and you do make sure that you do uphold your reputation of what you want to be known for and your just overall message that you're delivering to your customer. When it comes to brand values, this goes back onto the point of what is it that you deliver for your customer? What do you stand for? Are you an ethical company? Are you what kind of brand are you? And I think a lot of people do fall at this hurdle in the sense that they just don't really think about it. They don't really think that this needs to be done, or they do fall into the trap of being a smaller business and saying, oh, but I'm only a small business, I don't need to do it. And it's, in reality, you do need to do it. You need to show the world what you stand for, show the world what your brand stands for, and then this in turn, if it aligns with your customers, will build a bigger connection, and just it will let you build that connection together and people will feel aligned to your brand, which is like the best thing that you can do. I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you got all the way through, I appreciate you, and if you could subscribe, that would mean so much, as I'm trying to build my personal brand, which is all part of this process. So if I've offered you value and you found it useful, please consider subscribing. Again, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them for you, and I want to say thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Keep building your brand. Peace.